The habitable zone, an explanation involving coats. When you hear the term habitable zone, you might outrageously think that this is a zone around a star in which planets are in fact habitable. But this turns out to be a whole lot of nope. Nope, 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 and nope to you too. Rather, the habitable zone is the worst name ever in the history of naming anything. The problem is that the perfect amount of starlight needed to keep a planet's surface temperate and comfortable depends on the planet itself. The Earth's atmosphere contains greenhouse gases, such as carbon dioxide, which trap heat. This is like taking a planet and giving it a coat. If our planet was stripped of its atmospheric coat, our surface temperature would plummet, reaching an average surface temperature of about -18 Celsius or -0.4 Fahrenheit. Alternatively, if our planet was a bit bigger, then its stronger gravity would attract a thicker atmosphere. This would be like wearing a much thicker coat, and conditions on our surface would then become too hot for water. The water would evaporate, taking with it the best solvent we know for building biological molecules. This situation is like growing up in Hawaii with a wardrobe full of light summer shirts, and then deciding to visit Canada in January, whereupon you instantly declare the location far too cold for life. Meanwhile, Canadians are sitting outside in their thick winter-appropriate jackets, munching on Timbits and considering whether an ice cream might just hit the spot. And your British pals have declared both Hawaii and Canada completely uninhabitable, as neither location is suitable for the raincoat that is glued to their body. What this all means is that the ideal orbit for temperate conditions depends strongly on the atmospheric coat the planet is wearing. Planets with thin atmospheres will need to orbit closer to the star to have similar surface temperatures as planets with thick winter coat grade atmospheres. But when we observe an exoplanet, we normally only measure the planet's total size, and we are not able to tell what the atmosphere is like. This leaves us with no way of knowing if the starlight the planet is receiving is the right amount for a temperate surface. This lack of knowledge about individual planets means that we define the habitable zone for the Earth, that is, the location around a star where the Earth's atmosphere is the right type of coat to keep our seas liquid on the planet's surface, and therefore fulfill at least one of the conditions needed for life. If the planet orbiting in the habitable zone has a thinner atmosphere than the Earth, then it will be too cold for surface water to be liquid. And if the planet has a thicker atmosphere than the Earth, then the higher surface temperatures may cause the oceans to evaporate entirely. Now, if most planets in the habitable zone will be kitted out in inappropriate atmospheric fashion wear for the conditions, why do we still get excited by planets found orbiting in this region? This is because if another planet like our own is out there, it will be orbiting in the habitable zone. It is true that life may exist in many different forms, but our best chance of recognising its signature will be if that life is similar to our own. Identifying a region where Earth-like planets will hang out is therefore important for prioritising future observations aimed at finding life. But this doesn't mean that all, or even most, of the planets in this region will be anything like our own. Different names have been suggested for the habitable zone to try and express its meaning more accurately, but none have really hit the spot. The temperate zone has been suggested to move away from promises of habitability. But a planet is still only temperate in the temperate zone if it's wearing the Earth's atmospheric coat. Calling the habitable zone the hunting zone emphasises that this is a region to hunt for another Earth. But the image that conjures up isn't quite the one we want either. So how about the exoplanets zone? Earth could have liquid water on the surface. It's much more accurate, if not very pithy. But maybe we could claim it was the name of an obscure river god that no one had heard about, and then it might catch on. Or we could keep the name habitable zone, but remember it's the region where only the Earth's atmospheric coat is the right choice in outfit.